Hello animators and welcome to week 6. We are moving along. Down in the WordPress there are going to be a few more words to ponder. Some of them have to do with animation, or they might just have, or some of them might have to do with filmmaking in general, but it's useful information. So think about those words and I'll tell you what they mean next week. And for our class assignment, you're going to do a special effect. Now, there are going to be two ways you can do this special effect. You can either do an effects cycle, or you can animate straight ahead, but you can see what to do for either of those down in the WordPress, so make sure you read that. Now for homework, now's the time to really start thinking about what you want your final project to be, because you're going to create a storyboard for it. Remember the video last week from Pixar's Toy Story explanation for storyboards? You're going to do that. Now you don't have to do 1,000 cards like they had. You can just do maybe 12 to 24 cards, depending on how much detail you want to have and how useful you want your storyboard to be. The more drawings you do, the easier it'll be. It's kind of like an outline for an essay. Remember those when you write an essay and you have either your circles or you have your Roman numerals 1, 2, 3 with your subject and supporting subjects and all that kind of stuff? That's kind of what the storyboard is. It's a way to figure out what your whole film, your whole project is going to look, and then you can know, okay, I have to make sure I animate this part. I have to make sure I animate this part, or this part, and you kind of know what the choreography or how it's going to look. Storyboards are great. So if you need to rewatch that video, go back to the last lesson, watch the video so you get an idea of how the storyboard cards are supposed to work. Now, your storyboards do not have to be as detailed unless you want them to be. It's up to you. Sometimes famous directors, and you'll see in the WordPress below a famous director's storyboards that look like chicken scratch. So as long as you kind of understand what your storyboard is, that's good. It can even be stick figures, but make sure that you know what you're talking about within each card of your storyboard. Now, what are you going to draw on? There are different options for you. One is if you happen to have index cards. These are cool because they're lined on one side and plain on the other, so I can write notes about what I want to do on one side, and then on the other side I can draw the pictures. But not everyone has index cards, so maybe you can have paper from a tablet like so. And this is a pretty good size. I think this is about 4 inches by 5, or 4 by 6 rather, or 3.5 by 5, I'm not sure. But something in this size range. You can kind of see by my hand how big that is. This is a good size for doing storyboards. And you can just do individual pieces of paper, kind of number them, or at least, make sure you write something about what is happening in each card so you know what it is. Or if you don't have a tablet, you can use regular paper like so. Here's my sheet of paper. And if you cut it right down the middle and then cut each of those across, you'll have 4 sheets of paper. And that works just as well for your storyboards. So one of those is a good option. And of course you can use anything you can get your hands on, from your sketch pads or lined paper. I don't care. Just make sure you know what you're drawing and what's happening for your final project, your story. Okay, now a little bit about how to shoot it. For the storyboard, once you get all your cards in order and you know what you want your animation to be for your final project, and again, we'll have more information on the final project in either later, probably next week, I'm going to give you the straight skinny on what to do for your final project. But right now, I want you to really understand how to do a storyboard, even if you end up not animating the whole thing, which is totally fine. And you'll know why next week. All right, back to the storyboard and how to shoot it. Once you have all your cards arranged, you're going to take 1 or 2 pictures of your storyboard. Make sure that it's not too blurry, and you're going to upload those to Canvas, or you can email them to me, either way. But they're all going to be on 1 or 2 pictures, or 3 at the most. But you should be able to fit like maybe 8 to 12 cards or 6 to 12 cards for each picture. And then upload those to me. That is your storyboard. And maybe number your, rename the image so I know it's storyboard 1, 2, and 3, however many you have. You could have it all on 1. That's fine. But just make sure that I know what order they go in, and make sure you upload all of the images that you need for your storyboard. Then save your cards, because next week, and there will be more information about this next week, you're going to do the animatic, which is a little different than just a storyboard, even though you kind of watched an animatic last week if you watched the Pixar video, which was kind of required. So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's very useful information. But the animatic part, that's going to be a little different than the storyboard. Instead of having all the boards together where you can see them in order, you're going to take individual pictures of your storyboard cards. So make sure you save your cards, because you're going to need them again next week when we do the animatic. But for now, for the storyboard assignment, you're going to draw your little cards, put them in the right order presentation wise, and then take pictures. And if you want to write something about what's happening in each card, or as usual, there will be a discussions where you can upload your storyboards and people can talk about it and ask you questions. Maybe something's confusing to some of your peers, which would be your audience, and it might be useful to have them say, I don't quite understand what's happening here. Could you explain? Or you can be like, oh, I can make this more clear so that my final project will be really awesome. All right, that's it about storyboards. So you'll have your words to ponder, your effects animation, and your storyboards to work on this week. And then don't forget to do the survey. And I'm also going to be showing you 2 cartoons. One is a film that was an Academy Award winning student film by my dear friend Vanessa Schwartz, who I went to college with, and it's called The Janitor. And the reason I want you to watch it is because it's not fully animated. Some of it is just stills. So if you have an epic story and you're working on your animation for the second half of the semester, and you see that some of it you're not going to have time to animate, this is an example of ways that you can just take still shots and then can have animation in different parts of your film. So look at that for inspiration. And then another film I'm going to show you is from a former LA Mission student, Jedi Bruneller. Fantastic short film. He totally got an A in the class. I want you to see it because it's a stick figure. It's simple, but it's brilliant and very well animated. So take a look at those cartoons and enjoy them. Ask me questions. Remember, I'm here on Thursdays for phone calls from 11:30 to 6:30 p.m. and you can email me anytime, either through my Gmail address or through Canvas. But please contact me. And if I haven't heard from you, and a few of you know who you are, in a few weeks, and you haven't turned in some assignments in a few weeks, please contact me so I can help you. I'm really very nice. So let's do this and let's have a good class.